Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to a whole new episode of Full Steam Ahead. I'm your host, Zoe, with Cantu on the other side. How's it been, my man? How's the weekend?
Good, good. It was a great weekend. Just chilling, watching movies all day. It was a little wet kind of
Movies.
weekend.
Oh, well, yeah, it's been rainy here in
Yeah.
Houston. But what kind of movies you watching? Is it a little comedy,
I don't know why,
romance?
but my wife and I've been on a Hunger Games binge watching
Oh,
thing. Yeah,
Hunger
so
Games.
we're rewatching those.
Nice, nice, nice. Me and my wife have been watching Chicago Med, and then we recently just found out that Major League is on Max.
Oh, I
I don't know
saw
if you've
that.
seen that
Yeah,
one.
I
That
did.
one's new, so we checked that out. She's never seen it. Pretty funny movie. But what a weekend for Houston
Busy
sports, man,
weekend.
and Houston sports as
Oh yeah,
well. Dynamo win. They move on to I think the Western semifinals.
yeah.
Rockets 6 in a row
Against the Nuggets too.
against the defending NBA champion Denver Nuggets. The Houston Texans franchise quarterback CJ Stroud MVP talks as
Yeah,
well.
I think he just put unlocked the offensive rookie of the year on that after that performance. I think it's a lock on.
I wonder how Panthers fans and just the Panthers organization in general are feeling after passing on Stroud and going after Bryce Young.
I think they're still riding that one win wave that they took over the Texans.
I mean, hey, the Texans have a great chance of not making it, just making it into the playoffs, but potentially winning the AFC South
Yeah,
with a rookie quarterback. That'd be pretty cool because I mean, obviously D'Amico Ryan's too has to have a lock in coach of the year.
yeah, I think
But,
so.
but
Being able to
what a
turn that
weekend it
squad around.
was. Yeah, turn it around just like Udoka is doing over there with the Rockets too. But hey, there's a new manager in Minute Maid Park, the Juice Box, and the Houston Astros franchise, and everybody has seen it on social media. It's been posted everywhere. Joe Jose Espada, or Jose Joe Espada, is now officially the Astros manager. We'll talk about it here in Astros Roundup here in a minute. Of course, we'll talk a little bit more about him being the next manager up. We did ask, and we did have a poll if this was the right move. We'll see. We'll give our thoughts on that. Okay, so after he got that position, what's going to be the next move? Obviously, it's going to be looking for a coaching staff. So we'll go a little bit deep on that. Um, Also, in Bob Nightingale's article on USA Today, I don't know if you had seen, is Altuve the main priority over Bregman? Possibly, possibly. Kyle Tucker, Silver Slugger, of course, and then what's the stove cooking in the offseason? But Angel, of course, the man of the hour right now is Mr. Joe Espada himself. And obviously, I mean, Sunday, you're watching football. Let's be honest. You're either watching
Yeah.
Premier League in the morning, watching football, soccer, or you're
Oh,
watching actual soccer.
well, there's football at 8:30 this past week, so I'm sure people are watching football since early in the dawn with their coffee in their hand.
Yeah, with the Colts and the Patriots. But what a game that would be. And what a game it was. Not that competitive, but anyway, but no one was thinking of any Astros news at that time. I mean,
Yeah,
just a morning that everybody was just relaxed and chilled, like you're saying, getting their coffee, maybe their pan dulce as well,
yeah,
since it's a little cool.
and especially because the Astros said it themselves that it was going to be a long managerial search. They're going to exhaust all their options as well.
Yeah, I mean, I think Dana Brown kind of had it under his hat. He did a pretty good job doing it as well. But let's talk about it real quick. Per Bob Nightingale, of course, he worked with USA Today. On Sunday, he had put in his article, Joe Espada is expected to be named the new manager of the Houston Astros on Monday. And then later that Sunday, going through the hours, the Astros had announced that they were going to schedule an 11 a.m. press conference Monday at Minute Maid Park with general manager Dana Brown, not Jim Crane, GM Dana Brown. And then obviously Monday's athletic article has came out, and I'm not 100% sure if it was from Chandler Rome or Ken Rosenthal, but on the quote it says the team announced Brown and Brown alone is scheduled to quote host end quote Monday's introductory news conference, indicating the influence Houston's second year general manager had in Espada's hiring. Owner Jim Crane has wielded considerable influence in the team's baseball operations decision making since the sign stealing scandal. But in this search, Brown appears to have had full capacity to choose the team's manager. And if you remember the beginning, really in the beginning, but well, in the beginning of the managerial search, it was talked about Jim Crane, Jeff Bagwell, and a little bit of saying from Dana Brown. Well, right there, it tells you that Dana Brown took on this, big spot in his career. He even said it at the press conference. This was the biggest move he had to do in his baseball career. And I think he did a fascinating job promoting Espada as the new Astros manager.
Yeah, and if you do recall on our managerial like search, little graphic you had made, Joe Espada was the one that was on both of our lists. I think,
Mhm.
since the beginning we had, since years actually before even Dusty Baker came in, we were on the Joe Espada train, and wanted him to be the manager. Now it's becoming a reality, right? So when Dana Brown was brought here to do exactly this, right? So what, like, you don't sign Dana Brown and have Jim Crane take over, like he ain't Jerry Jones, right? Uh, but no, yeah, this is what he was hired to do, to make the big moves, and he made a big move now for the manager role, and then I'm sure there's big moves to come, maybe free agency, contract extensions, and even in the trade deadline to come. So, because I don't think the Astros like that sour taste in their mouth after losing to the Rangers, so I'm sure the Astros
Especially
are
the
going to be very,
Rangers.
yeah. So I'm sure the Astros will be very active. Um, maybe not in the offseason, maybe just because again they are limited to what they can sign, because they do have contracts expiring, contracts that need to be renegotiated. But it'll be interesting to see what they do.
Yeah, and I think Espada, if you looked at the way he was at the press conference, the way he was talking, I mean, he was ready to take this job
Yeah,
in a snap of a finger. He knew he was the right guy for the position. Obviously, too, he's been getting denied managerial
I was
spots
gonna.
from San Francisco to New York, Texas, Chicago. I mean, this man has had a journey trying to get to be a manager for an MLB club. And I think this is the perfect match because he has a great relationship with the players, obviously, in that clubhouse. A lot of them being Latinos as well. So, like you were talking about in the last podcast with Dusty Baker and La Raza, he was always there for them. This is the same guy. I feel like he's going to be a player's coach. He was under AJ Hinch. He was under um, Dusty Baker. Of course, before that, he was going under Joe Girardi and Ozzie Guillen. So this guy has a lot of mentors that he looked up to in them times. And now being able to be the manager in that spot to make those moves, I mean, I'm all for it. Like I said, when he was talking at the press conference, I was like, okay, when is spring training? Let's get it going because the Joe Espada era is here, and I don't know how long the contract is, but I feel like it's going to be here for a good while.
And you just named four managers right there that have won a World Series: in Dusty Baker, AJ Hinch, Ozzie Guillen, and Joe Girardi. So those are great guys. You would want to, that's that's a lot of baseball knowledge in one room.
Mhm.
If you ask me, especially like, and it's crazy how you can like like a little bit of both. You have like that old school mentality in
Yeah,
Dusty Baker, but you also have that analytics part in AJ Hinch, and more recent George Girardi as well. So it's just crazy, grasping what you can. And I think he is the right man for the job. And I was gonna mention that too, how he had other jobs as well. So I wonder if deep down Espada was like, this is what he wanted all along. Yeah, he had, like, it would have been nice being a manager elsewhere, but I think now he got his dream job. I mean, I'm just speculating there, but I think he got his dream job. Just the way the emotion was set out, it was a proud moment for him and the Espadas.
yeah, definitely. I mean, his wife was there. His two daughters were there. The way he talked to his two daughters, saying that, and I mean, we work with our Esquina, and the way he was telling his daughters, "Look, this is Daddy's dream," and it finally came through. This guy is big on family. He's big on faith. He said that he prayed that he was hoping to get this job. He was, um, what can I say? God as well. He said God had a plan for him that even though he got denied from them jobs, God had set him up for this one to be the Astros manager and the golden era of this organization right now. I mean, the window's not closed yet. There's still a good 2-3 years, I'd say, and it could be a great 2-3 years for Espada. The fans, this is what they wanted the whole time. They, from the Hinch era, after he, was fired and released by Jim Crane, they talked about Joe Espada being the guy. Okay, Dusty Baker came in. Dusty came in. A lot of social media, a lot of people out there were talking, not great things about Dusty Baker's managerial choices and his decision making, but they're like, okay, well, Spot is here. Let's go with Espada. Okay, Spot is here now. The fans have to be patient, and they really can't banner this guy because this is the guy they've been wanting for a good 4 years, I'd say. So, but real quick, Espada becomes the 20th manager in Astros history, the second Latino manager in franchise history as well, joining Preston Gomez, who managed the Astros in 74 to 75. And now he also joins Oliver Marmol, because I remember last time I said Olive or Olivio. So correcting Oliver Marmol from the Cardinals, Davey Martinez from the Nationals, Alex Cora from the Red Sox, Pedro Grifo of the White Sox, and the newly addition of the Mets manager, Carlos Mendoza. So he is the sixth Latino manager in Major League Baseball. As of now, it could possibly, maybe, there's two spots out there. And as of now, I think Benji Gill, I want to say, could be a finalist for that Padres position because Tijuana is right there. And that's where, he was born and raised. So I wouldn't be surprised if that's a great fit. And like you were mentioning with Mexico, with the World Baseball Classic. So wouldn't be surprised there could be seven in this season. But as of now, there's six. I think this is great for not just for baseball, but for the Latino community as well. You're getting a lot of these guys. Of course, a lot of baseball players come from Latin America. And if you feed off of one another, I think like right now, for example, this club, and like you were mentioning with Dusty Baker, even though, Dusty is African American, he did vibe with the Latin American players in that clubhouse and even the coaching staff as well. So I think this is great. It gels all together. But I want to ask you, and I even, we also put a poll out there for, the Astros followers that's following us on Full Steam Ahead on Twitter. If you're not, I suggest you do that
What are you
now.
doing? If you're not, what are you doing?
Exactly. You're missing everything. But anyway, we had asked, was promoting Joe Espada as the 20th Astros manager the right move for the organization? As of now, of 156 votes, 84.6% said hell yeah, 12.8% said maybe, and 2.6 said no. Shocking out there. But Angel, I want to ask you on this one. Was this the right hire for the Houston Astros?
You know what? I'm gonna go with the consensus, and absolutely, it was the right hire for the Astros. I think the relationship that he's built with these guys, with the Altuves and the Bregmans and the guys who've been established here, is that can't be into question. That is absolutely wonderful. It's a great thing to have. It's just like, um, every time you bring a new manager in, one of the big things is like putting that camaraderie, like that culture, that family. Well, it's already there, so he has a little leg up on any new manager I believe that the Astros have had, because that camaraderie is already there, and just the way you've seen them prepare the guys, talk about the guys. I think, you know, everybody in that Astros team loves Joe Espada, and I think they're happy to see him where he's at. It's what is their spot, but now, like you said, he's real big on analytics, that culture. It's a young guy, young mentality, but that has learned from four World Series managers, that has taken in what he needs, and I think Joe Espada is they set up perfectly for this role.
Yeah, perfectly as I can agree with you. Um, I mean, he didn't find out too till Sunday, as well,
Wow.
like everybody else did. He said it was incredible, just a dream come true. He's here and he's home. Houston's home. He talked about the love for the city, the love for the community, just love for this fan base. And like you said, the culture that the Houston area is very diverse. A lot of Latinos, a lot of whites, a lot of African Americans, Asians, Chinese. all the ethnicities you could think of. I mean, this city is a very diverse city, and mainly being Latinos, but at the same time too, it just shows what what Jim Crane has done over the years. Hiring Jeff Luno, he's Mexican. AJ Hinch, Dusty Baker, Dana Brown. So Crane isn't afraid. He is not afraid to find the right guys in the right position, and he's done a very great job at doing that. Some people feel like he hasn't, but honestly, he's probably one of the best Houston sports owners in the city, not just in baseball, but you can even say in through basketball, through football, all them other markets out there. But real quick too, before we move on to the next part of our segment, his daughter. I mean, the way he had spoken to the kids, the daughters as well, felt like this was it. I'm gonna support him. And then, like we said, we partner with Araskina. We're with them. His eldest, but oldest daughter, Ileana, she said, I'm going to be there to support him. I'm just super proud, and I get to experience this with him. So like I said, this guy's a family man. Of course, baseball is the number one priority, the number one job when you're getting things like this. But he even had mentioned the guys in the clubhouse, himself, their people, and they care for their families. So credit to Joe Espada. Congratulations, like we had said again. And the golden era Astros baseball is still up there. So, like you said, left a sour taste in his mouth last year. Oh, and before we move on again, sorry about that. He did confirm he was the one that initiated the call for Yiner Diaz to pitch hit, John Singleton to pitch hit, honest and bringing up Jose Altuve in that situation, hit that go ahead home run. So we had predicted that. So you're on mute though.
Wait, wait. So it was him?
Yeah. So
Oh wow.
he had said that he was gonna do it. He was gonna give it to Dusty. He was gonna mention it to Dusty before the whole ejection had happened and things like that. But obviously he got ejected. So it came to Espada's hand, and Espada basically threw it out there, and it worked out perfectly. But I mean, it didn't work out perfectly because the Astros didn't get and moved on to the World Series. So once again, congrats to Joe Espada. But obviously now he is the manager of the job. What's the coaching staff going to look like? Because Gary Pettis, which there were some rumors out there that he might not come back to the Astros. Of course, you got other guys like Centron. You got guys like Troy Snitker, Omar Lopez. So I'm I'll give your opinion in a minute. What do you think? What's going to happen? But for me, Omar Lopez, I feel like it's going to be the lockdown guy for the bench coach.
Yeah.
He managed the Venezuela team. He has managed through the farm system. I want to say he was the Corpus Christi Hooks manager at a time. So I think he is a perfect guy and he gels well together with Espada as well. They're both infield coaches. They work with the defense in the infield. I feel like that's a great guy to put as your bench coach. And then, like I said, my opinion, I think he deserves it. And honestly, too, dude, he could potentially find a managerial spot in the upcoming years. If it's not next year, it could be the following year. So look at that. And then I believe I think Gary Pettis will return as the Astros third base coach. I think there was a tweet out there that had said that he was going to move on and possibly join Ron Washington's staff in Los Angeles of Anaheim Angels, but that rumor wasn't true. Which obviously we don't get our facts off of Twitter, but we hear that and we see that, and you're like kind of concerned. You're kind of thinking, okay, well, is that going to be the right choice? But anywho, I think he does stay in Houston. I think Joe Espada does convince him to come back and be the third base coach for the Astros. So my question to you, I've named two of the guys. Do you see Alex Centron? Do you see Troy Snitker, Josh Miller return to the coaching staff? Or do you have any replacements on the top of your head?
I don't. I don't honestly. I don't know about Troy Stinker and Josh Miller returning. I mean, it could be possible. I mean, again, I wouldn't be surprised if the entire coaching staff stays just because they have that relationship with Joe Espada and I'm sure they would stay Joe well together. But the Astros pitching was pretty questionable at times throughout the season. So I think that's one of the hard things they're going to be tackling this year. So either changing who's in charge of the pitching staff or bringing in new guys to see what's up. But I mean, props to them though. Like they did get like Brandon Brady to get like amazing. They do an amazing job. So did Ryan Price. Like the bullpen wasn't the issue last season, but it was kind of an issue this season. So it's just kind of like see what works, right? Alex Citron, just because I think they have that Puerto Rican, vibe. I think maybe he does stay. And any replacements, I don't know. Maybe I would love to see Will Venable in a Astros uniform for coaching. He's coaching with the Rangers right now. I think I won a World Series ring, but when you talk about baseball IQ, I think he's one of the highest
Mhm.
with baseball IQ as well.
Interesting. And then don't forget Troy Snicker too was in the rumor reel or will, whatever you want to call it, for the Brewers managerial
Oh
spot.
wow.
Of course, the Brewers have yet to find a manager, but Ken Rosenthal had mentioned Espada's name. You could take him out the list now, but Snitker's name was on there as well. And of course, his father is the manager for the Atlanta Braves. So it'd be interesting what happens right there. But Spada, season's here. Season's here for him, and just got to see what's going to happen in the long run.
Yeah, because I was gonna say Eric Cancino would be great addition, but I think he was linked to the Angels.
Yeah, he joined Ron Washington's staff
Hmm.
too. So
And that's where Gary Pettis might like again everything's not sure about, but like rumor has it Gary Pettis was gonna join Ron Washington, but again everything's still up in the air.
yeah.
But you know, there's this question, and we kind of mentioned earlier that there is some people that needs to get paid for the Astros, either in contract extensions or fighting those arbitration years or even trades. Now, this whenever you think about the Astros core World Series or double like twice like two-time World Series champion, this golden era of baseball, the names Jose Altuve, Carlos Correa, Alex Bregman, and even Tucker, Jordan Alvarez are going to be in the question, right? That's
And
because
then
there's
you forgot George Springer.
yeah, I wasn't say George Springer too. Yeah, I'm bad. Brett Valdez, right? And these rosters over the few years will be remembered for Astros for a long time. Now, it comes time where it is now, Altuve's contract is winding up and he's in his 30s. You have Bregman, whose contract's winding up. I believe he's in his early 30s or
No,
could be
he's late. I think he's late 20s,
late 29. Okay.
coming to early's.
Yeah,
Early, I
okay.
would say.
I figured. So, I figured somewhere around there. Now it's time to pay these guys, right? Because the thing with baseball is it's like it's not a sport like football where you have to know the entire playbook. It's like like you get in there, you swing the bat, and you catch the ball, so you can be plugged in anywhere. It's time to pay these guys, and this is per Bob Nightingale in his Sunday's article as you see it today. He's been busy this offseason. He says a high-ranking Astros executive said their intention is to keep Altuve for the duration of his career, but are highly skeptical they can also retain Bregman. And honestly, if it came down to the two, I've always figured it would be Altuve just because
Hmm.
he's the root of this clubhouse, root of this team, and I think he's well loved, and Bregman is too. Like they're both well loved around this Astros organization. But when you think about who is the leader, whose team is this? It's Altuve's team, 100%. So I
Hmm.
mean, I'm not surprised. I'm not shocked that this is, you know, this was stated like this. That they're skeptical about Bregman returning, and it's just because you know, and honestly, it's just his offense. Like there's sprouts where Bregman is on fire. Peaches fear him, but then there's times where it's just like, who's this guy batting? Like it's just like he looks like an average third baseman. So he is getting up there in age, and I'm sure he's gonna want big number contract, but I don't know. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if I see him in a Nationals uniform, but I wouldn't be surprised either if he's not.
So if you had to guess his contract, obviously because now these days contracts are gonna go to 500 soon. But obviously, I don't think Bregman's a 500 mil type of guy. That's like Shohei Otani status. Maybe Juan Soto too when his contract ends. Do you see in the range of 200 to 300 or 200? You think?
The way the market is, I wouldn't doubt it. But if, you know, in a perfect world, not for Bregman, for like for that, the business side aspect, I think Bregman, a reasonable contract for Bregman would be like about a 7 year, 100 million, or like, like like that aspect.
Damn, 100 million.
Well, 7 for 7 years, that's a little
Oh,
less
okay, okay,
than,
okay.
yeah, that's a little less than 20
Hmm.
a year, right? So maybe like in that range. But the way the market is, I wouldn't be surprised if he gets like 150, 200, but with the years bumped up,
Hmm.
just to even out, like balance out that contract.
Yeah, for me, I feel like he's a 200 mil player, like in that range. Now, I wouldn't say over three. I'd
Yeah.
say two, just for the fact because he's done a. I mean, he's been a finalist for Gold Glove 2 years in a row, Silver Slugger. I mean, great eye at the plate,
No,
but at the
yeah.
same time, too, like you're saying, I mean, these hot and cold streaks. You haven't seen a consistent Bregman since 2019, since that AL MVP runner-up season, and after that, you really haven't seen that type of Bregman. 21 in the playoffs, if you remember. I mean, he was struggling bad. And I remember that they put him in the seventh or eighth hole in that lineup, and he just couldn't get nothing going for the Astros. And then, I mean, this postseason was, pretty decent. Last year in 22, though, he had a great one. But this past year in 23, it was a decent postseason. But like you said, I think Altuve is the number one priority. Mr. Astro himself, probably the best athlete in Houston sports you can really say. I know for sure in an Astros uniform, but yeah, I think you got to keep Altuve before Bregman, in my opinion.
Oh, yeah. I agree with you 100%. And I don't know. I feel like the Astros like have options for third base, maybe coming up. I mean, like they did sign. Dang, I lost his name. His first round draft pick this year. Uh,
Bruce, not Bruce, Bryce Matthews.
Bryce Matthews. I mean, he's an infielder, so I'm sure he can slide. It could be like Bregman sliding into third base like they did, they did to him. So I
Hmm.
wouldn't be surprised with that. Or even if they sign a guy, or trade for something like, I wouldn't. I could see that happening. But the Astros have been busy this offseason. Like you said, they've been, uh, you know, hanging out together. Like you said, Jordan was in the Dynamo game, but the Astros have won some hardware as well. Kyle Tucker, again, I think this is one of his best seasons. Was so close to 30-30. He didn't win a Gold Glove this year, but he did win a Silver Slugger. So Kyle Tucker won his first Silver Slugger award in his career, and he was lone Astro to win the award, which is, I mean, I feel like this was an injury plagued season for the Astros, so it makes sense. But I think if they stay healthy, then I, don't, I think Kyle Tucker is not the only one winning a Silver Slugger in an Astros uniform this year. But it is what it is. But no, it's a great award for Kyle Tucker. Again, he was so close to 30-30. I think he could have gotten it. I think, like, an unbiased opinion, I think that could be an inside the park home run. You
If it
know,
wasn't touched, if it wasn't touched, and it wasn't touched,
it wasn't, right?
well,
So,
we're
I
not
mean,
we're not gonna go on a rant.
yeah, about that. But no, I think it was well deserved. And, he is going to arbitration uh, this year unless a contract extension
Extension.
is. So I think he has some ground to get what he wants. I know last year he didn't get his. I think they gave him 7 million instead of the 7.5 million he wanted. But I think this year he has a case for it because Gold Glove last year, Silver Slugger this year. It just shows what type of player this Kyle Tucker is.
Yeah.
But you know, again, we haven't. Last podcast was the first time we did the around the league, but when the stove is cooking, we gotta keep an eye off on it. So there's been some awards that have been given out, and I do want to get some opinion on some of them. What you think? If someone gets snubbed or was well deserved. But let's start with the Platinum Award winners. So again, there's a Gold Glove, but then there's a Platinum Glove given to one player in the American League side and the National League side who was just superior on the defensive end. And for the American League, it was Cleveland Guardians second baseman Andres Jimenez, and for National League, it was San Diego Padres right fielder Fernando Tatis Jr. And I agree with Andres Jimenez. Like his glove work is elite, but honestly, the right fielder Fernando Tatis Jr. surprised me a little bit because again, shortstop.
Wow.
Oh, it's because like shortstop. Okay, I'll give it. Great, but in the right field, like I know it took him like a little time to adjust. So I didn't see too many games. I think that maybe that's why. But I remember he had like some struggles in right field.
I think that was the season before that because this season he actually played right field like if he played right field for the rest like for the for the whole career he's been
Okay.
playing baseball. Um, D- Biggest number is the DRS, defensive runs saved, and he's done a bunch of that, throwing guys out at second, throwing guys at third, and even home plate, saving runs too by robbing, potential hits and even robbing home runs as well. So the dude doing it he got a Gold Glove at shortstop and a Gold Glove and a Platinum Glove in right field, which is I don't know if there's any player in baseball history has who has done that. I don't think there is, but that's pretty cool kind of recognition to be able to do stuff like that.
Okay. Yeah, I agree. And this is a back-to-back Gold Gloves award for Andres Jimenez as well, right? Uh, Like,
Yeah, back to back Gold Gloves.
yeah, got you. And then we have the team. So there's a Platinum Glove that goes for individual players, but there's also the Gold Glove Team Award. And this year for the American League, it was the Toronto Blue Jays and National League Milwaukee Brewers. Now the Blue Jays, I mean that's a no-brainer. You got Matt Chapman, Bo Bichette,
Kevin
uh, Jo-
Kiermaier.
Kiermaier, even Springer out there. You know, Vladimir Guerrero like can really scoop it as well. So I mean, they had the defense on lock. And then honestly, I feel like if their offense could show up sometimes, and they could have been in a good contention for the playoffs as well.
Yeah.
And then rookie of the year, and I know we did some previews or like some predictions, and
Yeah, like a long time
a
ago.
long, long time ago, if you do recall. And I mean,
Let's see. I want to pull it up, see if I can find it.
you're gonna put it up.
I'm gonna see if I
Well,
can find it, but go
I'll
ahead.
remind you. You
I know
guessed
who I had for
yes.
nationally.
So you guessed the American League, right? Correct. You had Gunnar Henderson. In
Yeah.
the National League, you had Jordan Walker, and I had
Hmm.
Corbin Carroll. So you know, I
Oh, well,
mean, we
there
just
is
got
no
one
need to
division.
look for it.
No, yeah, I got you. You know what's crazy though? I forgot what I said for American League, but I remember your National League. Like what you said
I
for
know
American.
that's what I'm trying to think for the American. Well, because and when we did our fantasy baseball draft, I drafted Jordan Walker. You drafted
Yeah,
Corbin Carroll. Oh well, I got Gunnar Henderson actually.
yeah.
Um, Man, who did you pick for American League?
I,
Was
I
it
don't
an
know. If I said
Astro?
Hunter Brown.
It could have been an Astro, I think.
Yeah, it might have been Hunter Brown. I think. I don't know.
Very interesting. But
Yeah, but
well deserved too. Gunnar Henderson probably not Gunnar Henderson. Corbin Carroll had one of the best rookie seasons you can ask for. I mean, 50 plus stolen bases, 25 plus home runs. That's a 5-tool player if you want to like try to figure out who to idolize your defense, your offense from. That's him right there.
and then
And then
World
he was
Series.
yeah, exactly. I was about to say that too. Two more was it 2 or 3 more wins away from winning a World Series.
I mean,
That's
the Astros, have themselves a guy, and the Angels were close to picking Corbin Carroll. I think they had the pick right before the Arizona Diamondbacks too, so it could have easily been in the American League, but you know they chose somebody else. But no, I think the Arizona Diamondbacks got themselves a stud for sure in Corbin Carroll, and honestly, I told you, and I even said this. As like, I wouldn't be surprised if he hit 20 home runs. Like he has that sneaky pop,
mhm,
25.
it's
Just
crazy. And he already has a contract extension with the Dimebacks. I want to say it's 10 plus years too.
yeah. So it's just like bought out his arbitration years and then some.
Yep, the beauty of this game. But real quick before we sign off, we asked everybody on Sunday the reaction of Joe Espada because this
Oh,
is
it
the Joe
was
Espada
positive.
episode. Bobby Vergara, big guy on social media for FSA. He said the right hire for this team is Joe Espada time. Harry Kleinman, cool. T from the H, the right man for the job. Kyle Wileyman, good. who is the new bench manager, which we did discuss. A lot of guys, great hire. Yes, love it. Best news. Let's go. It's Joe Espada time. It's the right move. He deserves a chance to prove himself, whether it works out or not. He deserves the shot. That came from Rob Meese. So I think everybody is on board. Everybody's on board for this guy. I think we, like you said, we did have our top five managerial choices, and we both agreed on Joe Spada being actually probably number one for both of us. So
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, it'd be interesting what the coaching staff's going to look like. But until then, we'll just have to see. But follow us at Full Steam Ahead on Twitter, X, TikTok as well, FSA Full Steam Ahead on Instagram. Subscribe to our YouTube channel as well. Threads, you know, we're there. And then, of course, our podcast platforms, Google, Apple, and Spotify. But Angel, I mean, anything else on this Monday night that we're recording on Monday Night Football?
No, just keep your phones off silent because you never know what the Astros might do next. Turn on those notifications for Full Steam Ahead because we'll be on it right away for sure.
Definitely. We'll give you the latest news, what's happening, breaking news, stuff like that, because we're going to be able to keep you engaged this offseason. Even though the Astros were one win away from the World Series, great, great chance that they could be going back to the playoffs and possibly going for another World Series with Joe Espada as the new manager. But until then, y'all stay safe. Have a terrific Tuesday and be safe.
Peace.